What if the greatest love story in Hollywood began with an impossible childhood dream, only to end in heartbreak? Jason Momoa was just 8 years old when he first saw Lisa Bonet on television. Looking at the screen, he told himself, "One day, I'm going to marry her." At the time, it sounded like the innocent fantasy of a little boy. No one could have imagined that decades later, against all odds, that dream would actually come true. But what nobody expected was that even after finding the woman he had dreamed about since childhood, he still couldn't hold on to that dream forever. Long before he became Aquaman, before worldwide fame and blockbuster movies, Jason Momoa was simply a young boy growing up with an enormous admiration for Lisa Bonet. While millions knew her as Denise Huxtable from The Cosby Show, Jason saw something completely different. He admired her natural beauty, her quiet confidence, and the unique personality that made her unlike anyone else in Hollywood. Years later, he would openly admit in interviews that he had been completely fascinated by her since childhood and had secretly hoped that one day their paths would cross. Lisa Bonet's own life had been very different. She became famous at a young age, but unlike many celebrities, she never seemed interested in chasing the spotlight. She preferred privacy over publicity, family over fame, and authenticity over Hollywood glamour. Even as one of television's biggest stars, she quietly built a life away from constant attention, something that would later become one of the reasons Jason admired her even more. Then in 2005, something extraordinary happened. Through mutual friends, they finally met at a jazz club in Los Angeles. Jason later admitted that he could barely believe she was standing in front of him. He tried to stay calm, hiding the fact that he had dreamed about meeting her since he was a child, but the connection between them was immediate. What had started as a childhood fantasy slowly became a real relationship. Their romance quickly became one of Hollywood's most admired love stories. Despite their 12-year age difference, they appeared deeply connected. They built a family together, welcomed 2 children, and created a home that felt completely different from the glamorous celebrity lifestyle. Instead of constantly appearing on red carpets, they spent time outdoors, traveled together, and focused on raising their children with as much normalcy as possible. Fans saw them as proof that true love could still exist in Hollywood. As Jason's career exploded with Game of Thrones and later Aquaman, his life changed dramatically. He became one of the busiest actors in the world, spending months filming in different countries and rarely staying in one place for long. Lisa, however, continued to prefer the quiet life she had always chosen. While Jason's world grew larger and louder, Lisa's remained peaceful and private. Slowly, their lives began moving in different directions. In January 2022, the couple shocked millions by announcing that they had decided to separate. Yet unlike many Hollywood breakups, there were no public accusations, no scandals, and no dramatic interviews. Instead, they released a respectful statement explaining that they had simply grown in different directions during a period of personal transformation. They made it clear that their love for their children and their respect for each other would never change. That may be the most remarkable part of their story. It wasn't destroyed by betrayal or controversy. It ended because life changed, and so did they. Jason has continued to speak about Lisa with admiration and gratitude, while Lisa has remained true to the private life she always valued. Their relationship reminds us that sometimes even the greatest love stories don't last forever, yet they can still leave behind something beautiful. Perhaps that is why Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet continue to fascinate people around the world. Not because they were the perfect Hollywood couple, but because their story felt real. A little boy dreamed of marrying the woman he saw on television. Against impossible odds, that dream came true. They built a family, shared years of love, and proved that some dreams really can become reality. But they also showed that love isn't measured only by how long it lasts. Sometimes its greatest legacy is the lives it changes forever.